Hello and welcome back to another one. And in a video I did a few days ago, I said that I had more to talk about on Eminem's upcoming album release based on some facts I've put together regarding Kamikaze's release and how it compares to Revival. And in that video, I asked if you guys will be interested in this, and I got the go-ahead in the comments section. So today in this video, I'll be talking about why Eminem's upcoming album isn't a surprise album like Kamikaze was, and I'll be drawing some facts about Revival's release to explain why. I also have unrelated news about Eminem to add towards the end of this video that should give fans some joy while we wait. I'll be dropping 3 points on this, and I've seen comments expressing dissatisfaction with the fact that we know that Eminem is working on a new album, as they would have preferred the Kamikaze release strategy, catching everyone by surprise, which was certainly epic. But this video is on why that's not the case with his upcoming album. At first, we were getting teases, just like the months leading up to Revival's release, but this time, associates have come out to confirm that Eminem is working on a project, and this has ruined it for some people. Points 2 and 3 will show you some facts about why the release strategy is different this time around from Kamikaze's surprise strategy, but we'll start with the first point: Kamikaze's surprise strategy and its context. Now, since we don't expect that Eminem's upcoming album will be a Kamikaze Part 2, then there was no need for the upcoming album to be a surprise. Look at it like this. Eminem's critics threw the first punch after Revival released, and many people thought Eminem was done, including artists that began to throw subliminal shots his way like we saw with Kells on that Tech 9 song. Eminem looked ripe for plucking at that time, and many were jumping in on the action, including YouTubers. But just as his detractors thought he was about to get knocked out, Eminem hit back with the surprise counterpunch. In that scenario, a surprise album was the perfect way to make a response album like Kamikaze, and I hope this has cleared the air for those that are disappointed that his new album is no longer a surprise. Of course, we are yet to know the specific date, which could still come as a surprise, but the difference this time around is that we are patiently waiting since we know it's coming. With Kamikaze's release, no one knew something was coming. There were no clues, no hints, none of that, which leads us to the next point where I intend to explore the factual side of it and why this upcoming album is no longer a surprise. Now, unless you live in the United States, everywhere else Kamikaze was off to a slower start, even slower than Revival, because of its surprise strategy. It also didn't help matters that the strategy made it impossible for people in some countries to get their hands on copies of Kamikaze, since digital platforms like Spotify aren't available everywhere in the world. This forced people to head to stores like iTunes, and for those who don't use that service, they couldn't get their hands on Kamikaze until days later when physical copies were available. If you've been following this channel, you know that I usually bring the facts to support my points, and this time is no different. But just before I reveal the facts, remember to hit the like button if you enjoy content like this. The likes are free of charge. And since I hardly get donations, the likes are like fuel for the channel. So hit the like button, and if you're new here, also hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. So while the surprise strategy for Kamikaze was hugely successful in the United States, as sales were up, and that strategy also didn't give critics enough time to conjure up their negative reviews and poison the water. So it was a win on so many fronts in the United States. But Eminem is not just a United States superstar. Eminem is a worldwide star at this point, and since many in other parts of the world are yet to move on to streaming as much as those in the United States, coupled with no physical copies available, sales of Kamikaze took a hit outside the United States. Many people don't realize this because the US sales made up for this, but I'll get to the facts now that will show you what really happened outside the United States. Revival, for instance, opened with sales of 267,000 equivalent units sold first week in the United States, Eminem's lowest in the country since the Slim Shady LP, and this was extremely low for Eminem, and critics celebrated this and grew bolder by the day. Kamikaze switched things up before they could finish the celebration party, and sales went up to 434,000 equivalent albums sold first week in the United States. Now, looking at this just from the United States, you can see how the surprise strategy worked wonders in that market. But when you look at the picture outside the US, not so much. The opposite was the case. Revival first week outside the US outsold Kamikaze, and sales outside the US for Revival came in at 335,000 equivalent units sold first week, and for Kamikaze, it was 199,000 equivalent units sold outside the United States first week. So as you can see, the surprise strategy didn't work wonders outside the US, and one could even argue that if Eminem didn't split his fan base in half in Revival with the promotion that album had, the album would have easily sold an additional 340,000 in the US, which will put it in line with previous Eminem albums. Fans don't know about this because the US sales went up to the point of covering the low sales outside the United States, and overall Kamikaze topped Revival because of this. Kamikaze global estimates first week came in at 633,000 compared to Revival's 602,000 first week, and this is all due to the spike in sales in the United States for Kamikaze. Furthermore, despite unusual low sales for Revival in the United States, and this time I'm talking about pure sales, according to the IFPI, and I'd say this happened as a result of the global promotion Revival received before its release. Revival, despite releasing in December, ended the year with sales of 1.1 million pure copies sold worldwide, according to the IFPI. Kamikaze's surprise strategy outside the US slowed things down, and despite releasing on the last day of August in 2018, which gave it a head start on Revival, Kamikaze ended the year with sales of 1 million pure copies sold. Pure sales this time around was strong in the United States, but outside the country, sales dipped. So as you can see, Revival was quite the monster outside the US, and despite unusually low US sales, it still managed to move more pure copies overall in the year of its release. The final point I have to share is the case of the United Kingdom, which is an accurate depiction of everything we've discussed so far, about how the surprise strategy wasn't all great outside the United States. Kamikaze's first week sales in the UK was 55,000 equivalent units sold. That was more than enough for it to get the #1 spot in the country, and it stayed there for an entire month, but this was no match for Revival's first week sales in the country because of the promotion Revival received compared to no promo for Kamikaze. Revival opened in the UK with sales of 132,000 equivalent units sold first week, and Revival also managed to hit platinum status twice as fast in the United Kingdom, a feat it achieved in less than 6 months compared to Kamikaze's 12 months. And now it's time for the positive news. When I'm Gone released in 2005 as the lead single to Eminem's first greatest hits compilation album, and although we've heard about how Eminem songs don't age well, 2019 has proved these detractors wrong, as Eminem is on a run in the UK this year with another new certification. When I'm Gone from 2005 is now certified platinum in the UK, and that is 13 new certifications for Eminem in the UK in 2019 alone. So back to the point. Share your thoughts on what you think about this. Would you have preferred a surprise album like Kamikaze was, or have I changed your mind now that you know the facts? Tell us below, like and subscribe if you haven't, and see you on the next one.